Thank you for joining me today for this week's Tip of the Day video. My name is Kendall Kettle, and I am a Veterans Employment Representative with Michigan Department of Labor and Economic Opportunity. This video is brought to you in partnership with Michigan National Guard Soldier and Family Readiness Program and Veteran Employment Services. Today, we will be covering resumes and references. What is a resume, you ask? A formal document that displays a candidate's career, background, or skills and conveys an intent to apply for a position. And just a fun fact about the word resume, it is a French term that means summary. Leonardo da Vinci was the first person credited with using the resume back in 1481. Also in the 1950s, it was common to put on your resume your height, weight, marital status, and religion. Can you imagine nowadays having to provide that information? And then it wasn't until about the 1970s that resumes started to become more professional. When you as a job seeker begin your search for a worthwhile employment opportunity, it is vital that you create and use your resume as a tool to market yourself. The resume serves as a method to highlight your experience and qualification relevant to the desired position and why you are the perfect candidate. The goal, of course, is to get an interview. Keep in mind, employers only take about 6 seconds to review resumes, so it is crucial that you grab a potential employer's attention so that they may take a longer look at your resume and see your potential. And if you're not aware, some businesses and employers use resumes as a method to analyze trends. They use resumes that they receive for passive candidate sourcing, meaning that they look at the references on the resume and call up that individual and ask them if they are interested in discussing opportunities of employment. It is important to showcase your experience, as employers may look at your resume and feel you do not have the appropriate career progression. Be mindful of how you present yourself. You may need to emphasize your experience in a cover letter, which is also another tool in the process of the application process to explain why your career progression is lacking or doesn't flow normally. What does a resume look like? The most widely used resume is a traditional resume. It typically contains a professional summary, work history, and it could be either in a chronological or functional, or it could even be in a combination of both of those. Have you ever heard of the word curriculum vitae? Typically used in the United Kingdom. If it is used in the United States, it is typically in the academic arena. Resumes in reverse chronological format mean that a job experiences are listed as last job held is first, and positions have starting and end dates. Functional resumes list work experience and skills by job function. Typically, professional capabilities to relay competency in a specific profession. This type of resume is good for people making a career change or little work experience. An example of little work experience would be somebody graduating from high school or college. Combining is an option. However, you will need to evaluate what works best for you. Also, online resumes are more common nowadays. It depends on the employer on if they require paper resumes. Some smaller companies may not have the virtual platform to accept online resumes and require a paper resume, typically sent in the mail with a cover letter and possibly even a printed out application. All resumes have core parts: contact info, which of course is your name, your phone number, your email, your social media handles such as your LinkedIn profile link. Career summary is also known as your objective and summarizes your skills and talent, also serves as your bio. Professional work experience. This is where you tell your career history, where you've worked, duties, and years at each company. Tips for a good resume. You want to make sure that your resume is no more than 2 pages in length. 1 to 2 is fine. You don't want to risk, putting a 6-page resume and them just putting it in the pile. Because keep in mind, I mentioned before, it takes about 6 seconds for employers to review resumes. And a lot of HR professionals are overworked and they just go on to the next next resume. You want to make sure your work history is clear and concise, no more than 5-10 years. And the thought behind not having a lot of years listed on your resume is there is the potential for age discrimination. You also want to tailor your resume to the job description. Use proper tense in your on your resume. Examples of proper tense would be, if you're no longer in the position, it would be managed or implemented, or present. If you're currently in the position and applying for a position, present tense would be manages or implements. Have someone proofread your resume. You always want to make sure you have a second set of eyes on your resume and make sure that they can give you some constructive criticism. And definitely avoid the business or military lingo. The military veterans separating from the military are notorious for this. I myself experienced this after almost 3 decades in the military. You have to swap out the appropriate civilian term to put on your resume, because not everybody understands military acronyms and military language. For example, if you were a commander, you could put director, just so that the employers that are reviewing resumes understand the role that you did in for your experience. And also, a non-commissioned officer could be supervisor. Definitely don't want to put any pictures of yourself. Avoid any formatting errors, such as indentations and punctuation. Just make sure everything is dress right dress, and everything is legible and able to be easily read. Also use acceptable format. These are some 4 of these here are listed, are the commonly used ones, and you want to make sure you use 11 or 12 point size font. You want to make sure you stay away from any type of cursive or flowery type of lettering. You just want to make it legible. References. Typically, these are at the bottom of a resume, and it provides the contact information of your references that an employer will contact to learn more about your professional history and job performance. You want to make sure there's no more than 5. Put 3 to 5. What type of references should be listed? You could have a former employer, an academic advisor, a teacher, or a professor. Also, make sure you select somebody and gain their permission first before sharing their name with an employer. Also, let them know that you have applied for a position, and possibly share the job description so they know how to best talk to the employer about you and how they think that you would be a best fit for that position. And you want to make sure at times putting references available upon request is not advised, and that is due to some people don't have a lot of job experiences, so they wouldn't have any references to put at the bottom. So that would be like, for example, somebody out of high school or college. So typically, employers, if they ask for your references, you should be able to provide them on a moment's notice. So those are some tips on resumes and references. This concludes this week's tip of the day, resumes and references. More quick tip videos are coming your way, and we hope that you have learned some valuable information to make your job search efforts as smooth as possible. Quick tip videos will be available on michigan.gov/VES and Michigan Army National Guard Soldier and Family Readiness Facebook page. If you are in need in any veteran employment services, please visit your local Michigan Works office and identify yourself as a veteran, which will prompt staff to provide priority of services for veterans and eligible spouses. Again, I am Kendall Kettle, Veterans Employment Representative, and it was a pleasure presenting this topic today. Have a great day.